Kia ora, my name is Tyrone,
Talofa, my name is Pasi, and welcome to the Entrepreneur's Edge podcast.
where we help Māori and Pacific business owners win. Welcome to Entrepreneur's Edge with myself, Tyrone, and Pasi. We're here with another episode, and this one we're going to be talking about how to focus as a business owner in a world full of distractions. So I don't know about you, I know me and Pasi have been talking about this offline, but I do have a couple of distractions that we can talk into today, or how that kind of takes off my focus. But there's also been a lot of stuff that's happening in the world from, we've talked about AI. For anyone that's watching all the news, there's a lot going around with the war. So we thought, why not actually talk into this subject? Because as business owners, all our time is hopefully invested into our businesses and to any other things that we want to do. But, it gets all crazy and it's very hard to find, what to focus on. So, that's us for today. We're going to talk about that, bro. So I'm going to actually hand it over to you. Question I have is what's currently distractions or things that you're having to or look at that are taking your time away from business?
Yeah, for me, at the moment, if I start in the home, there's a lot of distractions in the home.
Yeah.
One of the ones that I've removed recently or minimized is gaming. I enjoy gaming. Look, we all have our own hobbies and stuff. It could be watching the NBA.
Yep.
It could be playing PlayStation or whatever it is, right? But when it starts getting in the way of productivity and work and family, that's when it becomes a huge problem. And that's what I call a distraction.
Yeah.
It's okay if you're still achieving results for your business and for your family.
Yep.
So, once it gets in the way, then that's a distraction. So one of the things I've been able to minimize is just playing games, PlayStation games and stuff like that. I used to, without even realizing, I could just be there for the whole day, man, or half a day.
Yep.
Just playing games, and my kids are around me, and I could be playing with them. So that's one of the things. The other thing I've been looking at is obviously social media is a big distraction for a lot of people because everyone's got their phones. It pings, it sings, it does everything, right? So, recently I've been looking at a lot of stuff that's happening around the world, like war.
Yeah.
The war that's happening in between Ukraine and Russia. You got the stuff that's happening with Iran and Palestine. It's tough, man. And when you see a lot, especially as a parent, a lot of things it's hurting people. People are dying. Children are dying. Their parents are gone. It really gets to me emotionally as a father.
Yeah.
And then it starts to make me think. I go on a rabbit hole of thinking man, what if this happens to my family? What if New Zealand has to go to war with all these things? So, and it can take away from, look, I need to be focused on just grinding, hustling for my business, because all these things I can't control.
Yeah.
Right? If we're thinking about what's happening around the world. But there are things that you can control that are distracting you, like playing games. What about for you?
Yeah, bro. Well, just going off that gaming, I've minimized my time. I still game now because my son's found interests in it. So that's kind of a bonding activity that we do. But as someone that kind of grew up in games and have, I like to say that I've had all the different PlayStations all the way from PS1 all the way to where we are now. I've always had a fascination to play. But I've found, and we've talked about this offline, is that, in the world of business, you can actually gamify. And there's things that, now this is a game for us, especially when it comes to the automation stuff. And we've talked about this. So I've kind of, taken that approach that I would have to playing PlayStation to how do I look at my business in that same fashion. And it's cool because actually it creates a bit of fun and enjoyment around it, and trying to clock the game is kind of the approach there. But social media, I would say that there's a lot of productive use, I would say, because part of the work we do is about how do we create content and get that out into the world. So I am also observing what's going on from that kind of lens. But I also do get caught in doom scrolling, and I'm a big NBA fan, NRL fan. So any highlight that pops up, especially from my team, I'm watching them again. I'm watching. I'm like, damn, these are things that maybe once in a while you could be watching, but I know that it does really reduce my time spent on the business when I get caught in that. And then just talking about the war, like that's kind of created a new energy. Like this obviously hasn't just started. This has been going on, but there's been kind of recent events that have kind of escalated. But then now you're thinking, how much is this going to impact, let's not just think about our business, like how's this going to impact our lives? So there's like almost this mental toll that it takes on. So even now when I'm doing my work, I'm like thinking about like, like, man, we could be all going to war potentially, again, touch wood, nothing like that happens, but it's like that thought now sticks in your brain and it's very hard to concentrate because you're thinking about all those things. So, I think there's distractions, and then I also think there are things that actually have to be mindful of. And I think even to a business sense, one of the mindful things is like what's happening in the AI space. I wouldn't say everyone has to know everything about it, but given the work that we do, given about, it's about how do we achieve results, add value, be a bit more productive. AI is a tool that, we should be at least looking at and seeing how we can utilize it, but also it's easy to get distracted and look at stuff that, may not necessarily add value to what you're doing. So, it's kind of like, how do you balance that? And I just wanted to kind of say that for me, because I think it's easy even for myself to give unsolicited advice to someone around how they should manage their time. But I always think it comes back to like, what are you wanting to achieve? And all of us have got different goals. I know me and you, share kind of similar ambitions, but in terms of what we want to achieve are different. And I think personally that's the marker. Like someone can't call what my things are distractions because they actually don't necessarily know what I want to achieve. So, if you don't want to achieve these massive ass dreams, I'm sure it gives you a little bit more time to focus on those distractions. But obviously, if you want to achieve things that, that are classed as impossible to most others, then it means your time has to be a lot more focused and dialed in. So I guess, maybe it's asking that question, bro, like in terms of you focusing and wanting to achieve stuff, like what do you, maybe not into details, what do you want to achieve, but like how much does your mind think about like the stuff that you have to achieve, and that actually creates a level of focus for you in your day-to-day?
That's a great question, because I do believe it starts in the mind. Like, instead of worrying about wars that are out there, that's outside your control, there's also the war that happens in your mind. And I feel like, if you're stressed, if you have unresolved issues at home in your marriages, there's all these stuff that can stress people out. And so the war might be a mental war that's like preventing you. That's the obstacle. That's the distraction that's preventing you from being productive, being focused, right? So I would say like focus, like don't drop the ball on your well-being, and definitely take a break before you break. Like be intentional about your breaks. Like for me and my wife, we make sure at least once a year we go away as a family on a trip. Go away to Rotorua, go away to Tauranga, go for like 4 or 5 days, even better. We don't do work. We just focus on having a good time and creating good memories with the kids.
Beautiful.
And that creates a huge, beautiful reset for us. And like, even small opportunities throughout the week, I might just be like to my wife, like, hey, what are you doing today? What's your calendar looking like? Can I take you out for lunch? It's like, yeah, that's us, catch up. Or even just at home, like when you wake up in the morning, instead of rushing off to work, rushing off to the gym, it's like, hey, sweetheart, hang out. Let's hang out for a little bit. What's been, just having a chat, man. I feel like all those things are good for your well-being, mentally, emotionally, socially. And then, if like once you have that peace at home and you have that peace of mind, then clarity, then focus is a little bit more easier. But it's hard to achieve that when there's war going at home, war going in your mind, war going at work, right? So in order to like bring peace to all of that, like I said before, be intentional about your well-being. It's not just taking breaks, it's what you eat, it's exercise, it's all of that stuff, right? That all helps. Yeah,
bro. No, I agree. I think too, it's interesting. I don't know if this is the same for you, but like now, I guess being a bit more older, I like to think being a bit more mature, and part of that I think is having a family now is that my level of focus has gotten, I would say, better. I'm able to kind of dial in or lock in when I need to, because I know there's other responsibilities that, weigh on, it's not just about me anymore. It's about, how I'm going to provide for my family, for the communities I'm in. And I think that's helped me dial in when I was a little bit by myself, be a bit more free balling. I would say I was always ambitious. I was always trying to do stuff, but I mean, like, I was like, oh, well, I don't have to go look after any kids or do anything. So, you go, for me anyway, I'll go partake in more distractions. Where now it's a lot different. Not been doing really great on it has been my health. I used to be quite frequent at the gym. I've kind of laid on the excuse that because I play a couple of sports during the week. And I'm like, I do my fitness, but I think being in a fitness routine is not even just about the fitness stuff and the well-being. It's actually just being in this kind of routine and doing stuff in a frequent manner, where my kind of weeks are a little bit a roller coaster. So yeah, I guess. Is there anything that you do, bro, in terms of that, like in terms of routine, in terms of like making sure that you're consistent with your stuff? Is there anything that you do to kind of help you focus?
First of all, I think what you talked about is get your goals and values in check first. Make sure that you are clear on what your goals are, and also your values. And so when I say goal, your goal could be like, look, we've got to be turning around $1 million in a year.
Yeah.
Do my values align with that? I'm talking about look, consistency. Like, is that one of my values or things that I live by? Like, I'm committed, I'm consistent. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's all those things that help you achieve your goals. Right? Because then if you're consistent, then you're consistent in the gym. You'll be consistent at doing this. If it's about leadership, that's going to, you'll be focused on consuming content, podcasts, spending your time with people that will help you level up your leadership, because that's going to help you achieve your goal. Like, you've got to make sure your goals are clear, your values are clear, and then that will help you choose and pick what you do, what activities, what things you'll invest your time and money on, right? Otherwise, if you're not clear on that, you end up wasting time, you end up wasting money, not just your money, not just your time, other people's time, other people's money as well. So I feel like, and also one of the things you've got to be clear on is like, if you've got to see like being focused as a competitive advantage, because not many people can do it.
Yeah.
Not many people can be laser focused, right? Because there's so much stuff going around, the AI, cryptocurrency, the war. There's so many things that could take people away, right? But those who are focused those are the ones that will execute and get the work done.
Yep.
Right? When they say they're going to do something, they will get it done. And I've got a lot of friends and a lot of people that I know who are far ahead of people in their industry, because they are blimmin' laser focused. They are focused. I'm telling you, if you can master focus, you're going to have a huge competitive advantage in business. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. And it's quite timely too, because recently I was a facilitator for a program supporting people around kind of digital marketing, kind of improving their skills. And one thing they keep coming up, they keep saying like, man, this has been so awesome because, what you've been sharing, like, we don't usually get this. Like, and the cool thing is you haven't been gatekeeping. So like what I try to do as best as I can is try and be real about stuff and actually give as much as I can. That comes from a heart of being genuine, because, I believe that if people want me to share, then I'll share. But at the same time, I like to kind of be as transparent as real, so people don't just get, wild content. They're actually getting stuff that may be applicable to them. They're like, yeah, man, this has been so good. You weren't gatekeeping. They're like, I have to ask you a question. I was like, what's that? There's one of the people, and they're like, aren't you afraid that if you do this, you're going to give away everything, and then, people will take over what you're doing? And I said, to be honest, I'm not scared, because you can know all of this stuff. I can give you all the stuff. But I bet you, and I'm going to ask you guys too, like, how many of you guys are actually going to follow this through? You know what I mean? So part of that is starting the stuff, but also is actually living and actually constantly doing this and evolving. And I find that is the hardest thing. So people can, know all this information, all these podcasts that we've done, we've pretty much given a lot of information, a lot of advice, a lot of gems that people can use. But let's be honest, not everyone's going to take them and go do something with it. So,
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because I've come across a lot of clients, and especially when I try and dissect their personal branding, their secret sauce, like what makes you unique and different from all the other people, that's what we're going to focus on. And they get afraid. They'll be like, they're hesitant. Be like, I don't want to do that because then people will copy me and people will beat me. It's like, look, and this is where you separate losers from winners. It's the execution. It's like, don't be afraid, man. Like, don't be afraid to give away information for free. Give away the information for free, but sell the execution.
exactly.
Right? Like, we could teach people all day about how to do a podcast, blooming all these workshops. Here's a technology that you can go buy. This is how much it costs. This is where you can get it from.
Yeah.
But not everybody can execute it and execute it well.
100%.
So that's where you come in. People will, it's the same thing with personal trainers. Like personal trainers, you can go and find the information on Google. You can go ask AI to help you with like put together a meal plan or a workout plan. But why is it that people still struggle to execute? And that's where the PT comes in. It's the whole accountability. It's the whole challenge you. It's the whole like constant reminder, the consistency. Someone there to help you, because you know why? Because we're creatures of habits. We're creatures of habits. And so it's hard to change habits unless there's some sort of intervention. And sometimes that intervention is the PT. It's the business tutor, mentor. It's the, getting people like us to help support you. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid when it comes to like giving away information, but sell the execution.
Yeah, man. And I think, tying this all back to, the topic of this episode is like, and you shared that as well, is like the ability, like focus is a skill. it's very much a skill you have to develop, but also it's a skill that you have to constantly work on, because it's very easy, as we've mentioned, and everyone will know, it's easy to get distracted in this world, especially when we have this device in our pocket that can take us all across the world and look at, many things, and you can go on these real deep dives around any topic that you want. Sometimes doing those deep dives are not going to be, what you going to necessarily help you within your goals. So part of that is developing the ability to focus and focus on stuff and focus consistently. So
yeah, there's an acronym for focus that I always hear from this guy. Check out the podcast Entrepreneurs on Fire. I listen to that podcast daily. It's my daily medicine, my vitamins that I take. But I like his acronym, FOCUS, focus. Focus on completion until success. So whatever the task that you're doing, focus on completing it until success before you move on to the next thing, before you move on to the next task. So if you're starting your day, you've got you're writing your list of to-do things that you're going to do that day. Label them 1, 2, 3 in order, which one you need to do. Complete number 1. Do not move to number 2 until you've completed number 1. Once you've completed number 1, move to number 2. Do not move to number 3 until you've completed number 2. So that's what it means. Focus on completion until success. Okay? Focus. Honestly. And the other thing I would say, one more thing, bro, before we wrap up, is like it's about protecting what goes into your mind as well. You've got to minimize distraction. I'm not just talking about what's on social media. I'm talking about the type of people you surround yourself with. Are you surrounding yourself with people who help you stay focused? And we've mentioned this before, like surround yourself with people who are closer to your goals, right? Because they will be the ones that will help you stay accountable, support you, and help you stay focused. Okay, so the conversations that you're having with people, is it productive? Like, gossip in that's a distraction. That's not going to help anybody, right? And they've planted those seeds in that conversation, and that's all you're thinking about all that day and stuff like that. Like, you don't want that stuff in your mind. That's rubbish. Even on stuff on like the podcast and music that you listen to, is it helping you stay focused or is it distracting you? So I'll just say, like, be protective and guard what you put into your mind.
Yeah, man. No, I think that's a perfect way to kind of end this topic. And I just want to stress that it's an ongoing thing. As someone that, I truly believe that I can focus on stuff and I have the ability to do it. But there are things in this world that, still pull me in directions that I know that, I could be probably doing something better with my time. So I like to just share that, this is something that I'm constantly working on. And I think anyone that comes into the space, especially as a business owner, saying like, cool, once I got it, that's it. I'm like, I don't think that's the right mindset for this. I think it's actually looking at it as like, how can I constantly, focus on focus? How can I constantly look at how I do this? But also there are ways and strategies and other systems that you can implement to make sure that you can focus. Like a good one that I have actually is, I don't have it on now, probably that's why I'm watching a lot more content. But one that I've always done is you can grayscale your phone. And the whole idea there is because the colors that pop on your phone, they're trying to draw you in. And there's certain colors that are used to actually draw you. One of them being red. There's a lot of reasons why there are brands that are red. There's a lot of reasons why some of your phone apps are red too. But the whole point is that it's supposed to draw you in. So if you grayscale, you'll find that you'll still may check it because you still got that habit. But over time, you start to say, you'll just look at it and kind of put your phone down. That's what I found. But now the other side of it is it gets hard to do videos because you're like, I only see grayscale. I can't see any color in my videos. So I have to turn it on and off for myself. But yeah, that's just one tip. We've obviously shared a lot. Thank you for coming through to this episode. And yeah, if you enjoy this, please hit the like, subscribe to all of our channels. And yeah, we're always going to come back with some more gems. So that's us. Thank you for tuning in to our Entrepreneur's Edge podcast.
Don't forget to follow and subscribe for more content like this, and so you don't miss out on any future episodes.